Hello everyone, happy Sunday to you all. How has your day been? I know it's been going on pretty well. Now I'm talking about Pastor Adeboye's apology to the church on tithe and offering. You know, he came online the other day to say that he was sorry for saying that if you do not pay your tithe, you will go to hell. Now he's making a reverse, saying that there is nothing like that in the Bible. Initially, when I heard about him saying that if you don't pay your tithe, you will go to hell, I was like, where is this in the Bible? There is nothing of such in the Bible that if you do not pay your tithe, you're going to go to hell. Nothing like that in the Bible. And I want to admonish we Christians, read your Bible. You don't have to wait for any man of God to interpret the Bible to you. Many of these men of God you see, they interpret the Bible to suit them, not really the meaning of what they are reading. They tell you what they feel is right. And when you read through the Bible, you're going to discover yourself that what they say is not the real meaning of what is in the Bible. And so for you to discover the meaning of the Bible or the meaning of what is written in the Bible, you have to read the Bible yourself to understand the Bible. Pastor Adeboye coming to say that he was sorry for saying that if you don't pay your tithe, you will go to hell. Look at the number of years it took him to say this. And many people believed because it was coming from Pastor Adeboye. How many other things has he said that we believed because it is coming from the man of God? And in most cases, pastors don't like you talking about tithe and offering because this is where their income, their salary comes from. Now, you all know Pastor Abel Damina. Most pastors are against him because he is now preaching against tithe and offering. To them, that is an abomination. Don't even go there. Before now, he was preaching about tithe and offering. But now, he himself has made a U-turn because according to him, he has discovered that tithe and offering is not biblical. He's not preaching that you should give according to how God has blessed you, but not that it's a must that you must give your tithe. Now, we Christians, we don't need no one to tell us do this and do that. Read the Bible yourself to discover what is in the Bible. God speaks to every one of us, not to some selected few that has made themselves gods over men. God can speak to you. God can speak to me. If you make yourself available, God will speak to you. I've also had my experience in Deeperlife Bible Church. This story I'm about to share now is my own personal experience in Deeperlife Bible Church. That is my experience. Your own experience might be different from mine. It's not a must that we all must have the same experience in Deeperlife Bible Church. My experience will definitely be different from your own experience. Now, I basically raised myself in Deeperlife Bible Church as a kid. I started going to Deeperlife Bible Church as a kid. And what made me start going to Deeperlife Bible Church was because of one of my mommy's relatives. We call her Mama Nkem, a very wonderful and amazing woman. She died early because she married the wrong man and she married in Deeperlife Bible Church. Unfortunately, today, she's not alive to eat the fruit of her labor. Her children are doing wonderfully well. She started going to Deeperlife after her husband's demise. She already had 5 kids for her late husband. I remember in those days when she was asked why she wanted to get married again after having 5 children. I remember her saying it is better to marry than to burn. She saw this man in the church who wasn't married before, was also a worker in the church, and then one thing led to another, and she went ahead and married this man. She went through hell in the hands of this man to the extent that she could not even take care of her children. She became really, really sick, and at the end of the day, she passed on. and her children basically raised themselves. And today, they are really doing quite well. The present husband she married in Deeperlife Bible Church will never see these children eye to eye. He was so mean and too religious. These children could not live with him and their mother. They went away to struggle on their own. And today, they are really doing quite well. Mama came, eventually took ill. Like I said earlier, she was a super wonderful woman. Very nice. And it was because of her I started going to Deeper Life as a small girl, because she would always come around then to take us to the church, because my mom was not around then. She was in the village taking care of my grandma. So I started going to the church as a kid until I grew up. Mama came really struggled. And this man never really took care of her. And he was a supposed pastor in Deeperlife Bible Church. That is a story for another day. Now, I grew up in Deeperlife Bible Church, and I've always questioned their doctrines. Most of these doctrines, if you ask me, they are not biblical. If you read through your Bible, you're not going to get any of these doctrines where it is written in the Bible. We are made to do them because it's coming from the man of God, Pastor Kumuyi. The church will dictate the kind of dresses you wear, especially for sisters. You see the way they dress. They tie turban all day long. Can't wear any shirt or any dress that has button in the front. The button might come off and your breast will be exposed, thereby tempting the men. You can't wear any tight fitted skirts because you might shake your buttocks and the men will be tempted. You can't make up. You can't perm your hair. You can't wear jewelry. You can't look good. And so on and so forth. And you see our women, the way they look, compared to the men who will always be on suit and well dressed. Children raised in Deeper Life miss out important moments of their lives. They don't celebrate birthdays, they don't celebrate Christmas. Don't take them out to like Mr. Biggs or social functions. Where we even have the time as parents to take your children out to places like Mr. Biggs or Silverbird Cinema. You hardly have the time because every day of the week, Monday through Sunday, you are in the church. Especially as a worker, weekends is a no-no. Weekend that you're supposed to spend more time with your children, you are in the church almost all day. Choir, we have to go to church as early as 12 or 1 or 2. And then the other workers, you have to join them at 4. By the time you are leaving the church, probably at 9 or 8, what other times do you have left to take your children out or to spend time with your children? On Sunday, workers are there early in the church. As early as 6:30, they are in the church. You don't leave the church until about 2 in the afternoon. And at 4, you are going back to the church for house fellowship. Now, as a young lady or as a young sister who is neck deep in the church, like I was then, every day of the week I'm in the church. Sunday, in the morning and in the evening. Monday, I'm in the church. Tuesday, I have to go around to check up on my students or the women that I'm leading. On Wednesday, midweek prayer. Thursday, you are in the church. Friday, women's meeting or night vigil. Saturday, workers meeting. Then Sunday. It goes on and on that you hardly have time to even improve upon yourself. Maybe learn a trade, learn a skill, and all that. And you see many sisters not married in the church, and they are very dedicated. They think they are serving God. But to me, I don't think that is any service to God, but service to the church. Single ladies remain in Deeper Life and grow old without anybody asking for their hands in marriage. And the men, by the time they want to settle down, they don't even go for these women. They go outside the church to bring in a wife, and they are accepted. But you as a single lady, when you go outside to bring a man to the church hardly accepts the man. They give you tough time. The marriage committee set up by the church to look into the affairs of marriage gives you tough time that at the end of the day, if you are not strong-willed as a lady, the church will come in between you and the man, and you will eventually leave the man and remain in the church and remain unmarried. I had a bitter experience with the church, and that is why I'm speaking up for other young ladies in the church. They should use their brain. I'm not saying stop going to Deeperlife Bible Church and speaking up so that other ladies in the church can learn from me. Now, to other ladies that are still in the church, don't let the church control your total being that you cannot even think for yourself. Whatever the church says is what you follow. You have to have your own mind. God has given us brain to think and to read the Bible to understand what is in the Bible. Now, a point came in my life that it was time for me to get married. I know that was the time that God has ordained me to get married, but I did not understand it then. I grew up in Lagos and I had my primary and secondary school education in Lagos. Now, in 1991, I gained admission to study at Adeniro Ogunsanya College of Education in Ijaniki. That was where I met my late husband, Barrister Stevenson Okuchemiya. He eventually went ahead to study law. But then we all found ourselves at Adeniro Ogunsanya College of Education studying. He was the man of the people, very jovial. Everywhere he goes, Steve-O, Steve-O, Steve-O. I'm sure my friends that we schooled together then will remember this. Rafiat Shuaga and Lola. I'm sure you all remember Stevie. He was loved by everyone. Steve-O, Steve-O. It was so funny back then, and we never knew, or I never knew, that we were meant for each other. I was still deep neck in the church then, doing SU. I hardly talked to any man. I was still very much young then, deep neck in the church, like an SU. If you see me then, quiet, SU, easygoing, I don't talk much, but he was attracted and drawn to me, and we were friends, just friends, no strings attached, nothing attached. We were quite close. That was how we started our friendship until eventually we all finished. I traveled to the East to study at UNN, that was University of Nigeria and Nsukka, and he went to Unilag to study law. And eventually went to law school in Abuja. When he came, I started practice as a lawyer. Meanwhile, when I finished, I came back to Lagos and I started teaching. During this time, while he was in school, he himself, he gave his life to Christ and started attending MFM. My late husband used to be a staunch Catholic. There's nothing you will tell him about being born again. He so much believed in this Catholic of a thing. And so for him to have become born again in the first place was a miracle. And I never knew that he could ever become born again, a changed person. It wasn't as if he was a bad person, humanizing, or anything like that. But I never knew he could become born again to the extent that he would become a pastor in MFM Church. But then eventually became a pastor in MFM Church. I finished school, I was doing my own thing, teaching. I never heard from him. Then one day I was in the church and I was called that somebody was out asking after me. When I came out, lo and behold, it was Stevenson. It was Barrister Stevenson Okuchemiya that was out looking for me. I came out, I was happy to see him. We talked, we chatted and all that, and then the rest is history. So he told me he wanted to marry me. That was why he came. I was shocked. I said, he wanted to marry me. I never imagined that somebody that is not from Deeperlife will ever come to marry me. That is why they say that the ways of God is quite mysterious and different from the ways of men. So when he told me that he wanted to marry me, I told him he has to go to the marriage committee. Marriage committee is a committee set up by the church to help you in the journey of your marriage. And to tell you, that marriage committee, it has to be dissolved, abolished, because they are evil. A lot of evil things that they do. They are very, very partial. They discriminate. And God help you if you go to that marriage committee. A lot of relationships that they have broken up. Now, when my late husband came, I call him my late husband because he is late now. We got married eventually, and a few years later, he passed on. God bless his memory. And God bless wherever he is today. Because I know that wherever he is, he'll be very, very happy seeing the kind of woman I have turned out to be. Very, very strong and doing well. And so when he came, I told him to go see the marriage committee of the church, of my church, Deeperlife, because he came from MFM. He told me he has seen the marriage committee of his own church, that is MFM Church, and that they have asked him to come see my own marriage committee of Deeperlife Bible Church. He even came with a letter from the church, and he went to see the marriage committee of my church. And when he went to see them, I was called and I was interviewed. They asked me, did you dream about him? Did you see him in a vision? Did God reveal anything to you? I told them, no, I didn't dream any dream concerning him. Neither did I see any vision concerning him. But I like him. They told me the word like is not enough for you to want to marry a man. Then I told them I love him. To them, they were still not convinced. They were looking for that testimony of I saw him in my dream and all that. And I didn't see him in my dream. Though my husband had told me that God revealed me to him. That was why he came. But I didn't see anything. And he told them of his dream and of the vision concerning both of us that God had revealed to him. But they were still not convinced. And so they had to send one of them, Pastor Onoha. That is his name. But Deeperlife members that are watching me, that know me way back at Eleja District Church, Surulere, because I know that Deeperlife members are now on social media, going from platform to platform, fighting for pastors. When you comment or see anything, you see them coming to attack you. And a lot of times I wonder, are these people really Christians? The way they fight for pastors, I bet you they can't fight for God like that. Now, to go back to Pastor Onoha, he used to be my pastor then. I'm sure you all remember him. Pastor Onoha was sent to me. I remember him now. And I think that Pastor Onoha has an apology to make to me because I wasted many years because of him. I know that some of you might say, but you were not a kid. You should have known better. Yes, I was not a kid. I was old and matured enough to have taken decision on my own and not to allow the church to control me. But you know what they say about the power of indoctrination. If you have not been there before, you will not know what I'm talking about, because I actually grew up in the church and the church has become part and parcel of me. And whatever they say then is what I believed to be true. And so Pastor Onoha was sent to me to talk to me, I believe. And I remember vividly sitting before Pastor Onoha in the church, and he asked me again, did you dream about this man? I said no. Did you see vision? I said no. Probably he was waiting for me to say yes, I dreamt about him. Probably if I had lied, I'm sure they would have believed me. But I didn't dream, neither did I see any vision about him. So why would I say I dreamt when I did not dream, or saw vision when I did not see any vision? So I told him I didn't dream any dream about him, neither did I see any vision concerning him, but that I like him. And he said the word like is not enough. And I told him I love him and I wish to marry him. Then he said, if you go ahead and marry him, then the church will not support you because we are not in support of the relationship. And that was it. Sheepishly, I listened to him and I started withdrawing from my husband. And that was how the relationship died like that. One day that my husband called me and asked me, do you still want to go ahead with these marriage plans? I was like, I'll still wait for the church to give us a go ahead. And that was it. He became angry and annoyed that I was delaying. I didn't want to make up my mind and all that. And that was how the relationship ended and we went our separate ways. You can imagine that because of church, man-made doctrine, I almost forfeited the person that God has destined for me right from time. And I didn't know. This same Pastor Onoha today, the children are not in the church. None of his children even wedded in the church. You can see how some church leaders will sit on top of your destiny. And if you don't know it, your destiny will be truncated and destroyed for life. And so when we parted ways, I was just there. And it wasn't as if any other man even came to ask for my hand in marriage. I was just there, still going to church every day and all that, until eventually I traveled out of the country to the US. And so when I came to the US, I still attended the church a few times, and I discovered that the deeper life in US is quite different from the deeper life in Nigeria. Many of these do's and don'ts we do in Nigeria, they don't do it here in abroad. The ladies dress well, they mark birthdays in the church, they are not so rigid. And so after seeing all this, I decided it was time for me to move ahead with my life, because if I remain here, probably I will not make any headway in life. I will just be stuck at one place. So I left. After I left, not long later, I reconnected back again with my husband. What happened was that one of his brothers, who is also a pastor, traveled down to the US for a conference or something, and then he had asked my husband to give him my number because my husband had told him that I traveled. Somehow, he still got to know that I traveled, and so he gave his younger brother my number, and his younger brother called me. And then when he called me, we talked, we greeted, we chatted, because his younger brother knew me back then because we all attended Adeniro Ogusoya College of Education, Ijaniki. And so we talked, we chatted. He asked me if I was married. I said no. And so when we have chatted and talked, I believed he called back his brother, my husband, and told him that this Joy that you had wanted to marry then is still not married though. You better make a move if you still want to marry her. Because as at then, he too was not married. You can imagine two people that wanted to marry. The church came between us and we were just there, not married. The two of us, wasting time. And then after I finished speaking with his brother, he called me and we started talking. And that was how we reconnected back together again. And the rest is history. I was already here in the US, remember, and he was still in Nigeria practicing his law. Immediately, we started planning for our wedding. Remember, this is somebody I've known since 1991. It wasn't as if we were strangers to each other. And so we started planning for our wedding. And before I even came to Nigeria, he has already gone to see my parents twice in the village. You can imagine. We were so excited. Every day we'll call, we'll talk. And so we fixed a date for our traditional marriage, and I had to come to Nigeria so we could travel to my village for the main ceremony. We needed to see the day I arrived in Nigeria. When we met at the airport, we hugged and we were crying right there at the airport. This is so emotional for me now. We were crying like babies, hugging, apologizing to each other. It was all my fault. I had to apologize to him. He apologized to me too for not being patient with me, and apologized to him for allowing the church to dictate my life to me. And that was it. We eventually got married. We were the happiest people on earth the day we came back together as husband and wife. People who knew us back then, our fellow students that we went to school together, when they heard that we eventually got married, they told us we knew all along that both of you were destined for each other. Why you wasted so much time is what we don't know. That was what they said. The few years both of us spent together were the happiest days of our lives. And as soon as we came back together, if you see the progress we made and the things we were able to achieve within a short time, it will marvel you. That is why the Bible said, 2 heads are better than one. One will chase 1,000 and 2 will chase 10,000. God really blessed and enlarged us. God opened doors for us. And then I was still struggling in the US. I hadn't even started my nursing program. He encouraged me. And it was because of his encouragement I am a nurse today. Unfortunately, he's late now. God bless his soul. But he will always be dear to my heart. Now that he's gone, I don't think there's any other man out there that is destined for me. He was the only one that was destined for me. I'm so happy and glad that we eventually got married. God did not allow the plan of the church to truncate my destiny to work. That's why I always say this. That Pastor Onoha of Eleja District Church owes me an apology. I forgave him. I don't have anything whatsoever against him. Because if not for him, I would have married my husband, Tete. Look at the years we wasted, all because of one man's doctrine. Because the man is not from Deeper Life, obviously, and because I didn't say I dreamt about him, therefore they have to tell me I cannot marry him. You see what the church is doing. As a young lady, Please be wise. Don't allow the church to dictate your life for you. If a man comes to seek for your hand in marriage, take the man to your parents. Let them bless you. Go ahead and marry the man. Don't wait for any marriage committee to give you a go ahead to get married. They don't own your life. Decide for yourself what you want for yourself. And so this is my own experience with Deeperlife Bible Church. And I know it's not only Deeperlife Bible Church that this kind of a thing happens. It also happens in so many other churches. But let's be wise. As you go to that church, don't leave your brain at home. Go with your brain intact and question anything that is being preached. And above all, read the Bible yourself and know God for yourself. You can imagine somebody came to marry me. I didn't even take the person to my parents first. I went to the church first. And the church dictated to me what I should do. And I followed them. I remember when I came to Nigeria for the wedding plans, because we did only the court wedding and the traditional wedding. I remember my husband asking me then, do you still want us to go to the church? Guess my answer in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Bye.